John McCabe. Welcome to the show. Hey, welcome to the John A. McCabe Show, where it's all about accelerating your authority in your business or field of expertise. And we do that by helping entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed on any device, anywhere, anytime, within as little as 15 hours, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, what does it take to become a self-made millionaire? Many people have wondered and few have succeeded. The book Self-Made, Confessions of a 20-something Self-Made Millionaire follows the real-life story of Stefan Arno, award-winning real estate investor and award-winning entrepreneur, through the struggle of starting with zero cash, zero credit, and zero experience in his pursuit of financial freedom. Now, prior to receiving the proper training, Stefan almost went bankrupt on several occasions. He only had $1,200 when he started investing, and he was a starving artist, making only $10,000 a year as a guitar teacher. Now, he read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a book that changed so many people's lives and their view of financial literacy, and he really took that message to heart. Determined to transform his life financially, he found an investor to lend him the money to pay for his training, and he enrolled in the Rich Dad education, and there has been no turning back. Today, he's a full-time real estate investor, having completed 58 transactions worth $4.2 million since December 2012. To help him manage the level of deals he's currently doing, Stefan has assembled a large power team. Now, he uses blogging as a way to grow his business and has subsequently written a book on real estate investing, with a new book to be published very soon. Now, I had personally become aware of Stefan several years ago when he was working for an Alberta-based company, helping them fill rooms for the purposes of raising capital for many of their projects. Now, word quickly spread in the real estate investing community right across the country about this young guy in the city of Winnipeg and was doing so well at raising capital. Now, as mentioned on many previous shows, one of the things that I like to do is make myself aware of who the movers, the shakers, and the players are in any industry that I'm either studying or involved in. I like to see what other successful people are doing and incorporate some of the things that are working so well for them into my own business. Now, in a few short years, Stefan Arno accelerated his authority to become one of the premier real estate investors on the Canadian scene. Now, Stefan is an award-winning real estate entrepreneur, author of Money People Deal, The Fastest Way to Real Estate Wealth, and the 2014 winner of the Rich Dad Hall of Fame Award. And when I return, I'm going to be joined by my guest today, Stefan Arno. Hey, thanks for joining us today. It's Monday, which means it's Real Estate Investing Day here on the John A. McCabe Show. The day I interview various real estate investors, as well as educate you on a variety of different strategies that can help you achieve financial freedom in your life. Now, when it comes to real estate investing, or any business for that fact, it's important to build teams and implement systems. Otherwise, you'll never reach your full potential. Now, trying to do everything yourself has limitations, the biggest one of which is your time. Now, you just won't have enough time in the day to grow or scale your business to the heights of its possibility. Now, two things my guest has excelled at very quickly: accelerating his authority and growing and scaling his business, which is something Stefan has been able to do very effectively. As a result, Stefan has accumulated properties at an alarming pace, controlling 25% of his local niche through his understanding of real estate joint ventures. Now, Stefan Arno is an award-winning real estate entrepreneur, author of Money People Deal, The Fastest Way to Real Estate Wealth, and the 2014 winner of the Rich Dad Hall of Fame Award. Now, starting with only $1,200, Stefan has built a multi-million-dollar portfolio and has for his partners and earned himself a spot on the self-made list. Stefan has accumulated properties at an alarming pace, controlling 25% of his local niche through his understanding of real estate joint ventures. Now, Stefan's philosophy is simple: find great deals, build a fantastic team, pay everybody, and create partnerships for life. Now, along with his real estate investing business, Stefan helps real estate investors who want to do their very first deal and the ones that want to take their business to that next level. He does that by teaching them to raise capital, create a personal brand, flipping real estate, and so much more. So please give it up with likes, love, shares, and a virtual flurry of thumbs up and heart icons across the screen for my guest today, Stefan Arno. Welcome to the show, Stefan.
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for taking time out of your, I'm sure, busy day to join us live here in the mid-afternoon. And I'm sure you've got a lot of things that you're working on, but thanks for joining us.
Oh, we have plenty every day.
So what are you working on right now? What did I take you away from?
Well, I was just out in the field looking at some of the flips we're doing. We've got a student in town for a one-day that's in from Regina. I got my sales team downstairs doing a sales meeting. My secretary is on lunch. My COO, he's out at a meeting. The accounting team is downstairs. Last night I finished reading a book. I finished writing a book, and also I'm making a program right now to measure entrepreneurs and what they need to do to go to the next level. So kind of like a personal test. So lots of things happening here, John. We're very busy.
Excellent. Well, like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to share with the viewers a little bit more about yourself, as well as what you have going on in real estate investing, and really helping the viewers and the other real estate investors, potentially taking it to that next level. But first thing we like to do on the show before we even get too far is a speed round of questions. Now, we were talking just before the show. You mentioned that you don't watch a lot of video on the internet, so you haven't actually seen the show. So best thing is, one thing you need to know is you don't have to study for this test, and I'm not going to grade you. So it's just 10 quick questions, and just throw out the thing that comes to your mind the quickest. And what we'll do is we'll get the people watching the show at home to play along as well. Just answer your questions in the chat. Just type in your answers as I ask the questions, and we'll just compare your answers to Stefan's at the end of the show, or at the end of the session. So you all set to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Name the book that impacted your life the most.
I'd say Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Now, when you were a young boy, who was your biggest crush? Your celebrity crush? Celebrity.
Lindsay Lohan, when she had red hair.
What is either a book, a podcast, or a show that you're into right now?
Well, right now I just started reading The Way of the Superior Man.
Excellent. Do you currently work with any coaches? If so, who?
I've got a couple. I've got a life coach right now. I have a writing coach right now. I have a coach for international business right now, and those are the three I'm working with right now.
Excellent. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Pulp Fiction.
And are you currently involved in any masterminds right now?
I'm not. I was last year.
Okay. Name a person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
Two options. One is Jesus, whoever he was, or Nikola Tesla.
Excellent. What's your favorite type of vacation, beach or adventure tour?
Beach.
And the best business advice you ever received?
Respect the grind. Keep going.
So the last question is a two-part question. This is what's your favorite, not what do you consume on a regular basis. Is it water, beer, or wine? Pizza, wings, or salad?
Water from the first category, and probably pizza, but I should be eating salad.
Excellent. So, Stefan, I gave a few different versions of your intro, but is there anything that I missed out on? Is there?
Well, there's a lot of things going on there.
So in about 60 seconds, can you just fill in the highlights of your origin story for anyone who doesn't know you?
I mean, I started out as a guitar teacher. I was making $10,000 a year of income, and I wanted to be rich and famous. When I was 16 years old, I wanted to be rich and famous, so I got into music. And when I realized that music is not a way to win in the new millennium, I started studying real estate and learned that anybody can be rich through real estate and business, and that really started my path, is studying real estate and business, and I've been on that path for about 8 years now, so I'm getting up to the 10-year mark, which is where you really start to become successful.
Yep. So prior to starting your current real estate investing company, I think you started that somewhere around January 2012, you spent some time as an investment representative for an Alberta-based company where you helped them raise, I think it was around just over $1 million in 6 months. So what did you learn from that experience, and how did it help you when you started your own real estate investing company?
Well, one of the biggest things that people need to do if they want to do real estate is you have to learn to raise money. Real estate's a very capital-intensive business. It's not like starting a lawn care company where you go buy a lawnmower and start mowing lawns, or you get a shovel and start shoveling snow. Real estate's a business where I help people start their real estate businesses and go full-time. You have to raise millions of dollars. Yes. So I got a job in a private equity company in Alberta, and that company was raising $10,000 minimum. So you can imagine $1.1 million raised 10 grand at a time is a lot of selling.
Yes.
And I learned how to call, how to dial the phone, how to do presentations. Got a little bit of public speaking done, and I learned how to dress up properly and ask for money. And really, the big skill there, John, is learning to sell. And sadly, a lot of entrepreneurs jump into business, but don't get that formal sales training.
Yeah.
And because they don't have the formal sales training, their businesses stagnate. And in fact, I coach a lot of people, and one of the programs we're coming out with next year is a sales program because so many people skip it. Yeah,
sales is an important aspect in any business, but more so in real estate investing, where you're constantly trying to raise money. I personally know the two individuals that started that business way back when, and a really good friend of mine, Lloyd McDonald, who Lloyd and I worked together back in the early 2000s, where he was looked after corporate sales for one of the company that we worked for at that time. And Lloyd was amazing at building sales teams, building the actual sales process. So I really understand what it is, the things that you actually went through during that time. And I'm quite sure that you've also learned some systems, some sales systems from that short time at that company. Is that true?
Yeah, well, if you read my book, Self-Made, or maybe you'll get one day, read the book. It was a really school of hard knocks approach. I mean, I got hired. They had a 2-week training process, or 1 week, I can't remember what it was. Yeah. There really wasn't any training. Yeah. And then they sent me to the Winnipeg office that had no heat, and they printed out 50 names and numbers on a list from guys who came to events years ago. And they said, start calling these guys. So there was no script, no training, no slide deck, no presentation. Wow. And I think I even made my first sale without even being licensed. I just got on the phone and just sold the guy the first investment. I don't even think my license had gone through yet, because it was like in startup company mode. And the good thing about that is when you're in a startup company and you're starting out, you get the real pure skills, and a lot of things I had to build.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Did you build your own systems within that organization that you can then take with you and implement into your own business?
Well, that's exactly what happened. I was a guy, they had a database that was 11,000 names or something, and I just started dialing 50 people every day because my sales trainer told me you got to make calls. So I made 50 to 100 calls every day. 50 was the minimum, and then I'd book 2 meetings, and so every day I had 2 meetings to do. I'd do my 50 calls, and it worked out. By doing 50 calls a day, my income was about $110,000 a year.
Nice.
So to become a 6-figure earner, you have to do the calls, and then the calls and the presentation that I learned there, I applied it to my own business. And now downstairs in my office, I'm on the 2nd floor. On the 1st floor of my office, we got guys downstairs. Guess what? They do 50 calls every day minimum. So they're doing the system I used to do. And then the capital raising presentation, I've turned it into a book called Money People Deal. Yeah. It's been rebranded now as the $5 million book because it was so effective at raising money.
Can you talk a little bit about your decision to venture out on your own in 2012? I mean, did you have any fears when you started? Were there negative people around you telling you it was a bad idea?
Well, everybody wants they either want to protect you and keep you down, or they want to keep you down because they don't want to see you get ahead of them. Everybody wants to see their friend do well, but not better than them.
That's right.
And when I quit my corporate job, what was happening was I had a real estate project that took on so much debt, and it ended up being credit card debt, that the interest payments were bigger than my corporate job checks. So suddenly I was forced to quit. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things happening at the company, but it seemed like the right thing to do, and I just cut the cord and jumped in and went into it. And I quit my job 3 times in my life, John. Twice I had to go back. The 3rd time I haven't been back in 8 years.
Excellent.
So, I don't think I ever will go back. And I think it's actually impossible to go back once you've had the freedom for 8 or 10 years.
Yeah, it's impossible to go back because you know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And 2, I think of myself as unemployable. I have a lot of great skill sets, just like yourself. You have a lot of great skill sets, but really on a piece of paper, on a resume, nobody would ever hire people like us, right? Because we are true entrepreneurs, and there's more. We see that there's more than just punching a clock.
Yeah, well, for me, that's a great question or a great statement there, John. For me now, my business is more about purpose and growth and mission. I find a lot of purpose in what I do. So to do my purpose is very energizing. It's invigorating. It's exciting. I love seeing people change their lives. I love seeing people win. And you get addicted to it after a while. It's like flipping houses too. I stopped flipping houses for a bit because I was working at my other company, and I found out I'm addicted to it. I'm back, and I'm just in love with the game. I'm a guy that plays the game for the sake of the game.
Yeah.
I'll probably never stop. I'll be 100 years old. I'll probably die on stage speaking to somebody
about flipping the house that you just flipped last year.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll be about a house, or maybe it'll be about something else. But the thing about it is, it's just passion, and you want to do stuff and you want to serve. And to me, business is really about service.
Excellent. So Stefan, what were some of the biggest challenges that you were faced when you first got started, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Well, I think that there's really three challenges that real estate investors have when they start out. Number one is cash, liquidity. They have no income. So for me, I'm a hardcore entrepreneur, so I live on almost no money, John.
Yeah.
And when I got into real estate full time, I was actually out of the rat race. I had a property that supports my lifestyle. I still have it today. I'm probably going to keep it forever because I don't like to have a job. So I got myself out of the rat race by my second deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So cash and income's a problem. Second problem that people have is they don't have any capital to invest, so they run out of money. So that's raising capital is a problem. Now, I got around that problem because I learned to sell, and I worked for a company, and I earned my skills. And then the last problem people have is credibility. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows to bring deals to you. Nobody knows to call you. So I started creating a brand, a personal brand, and I started writing blogs every day. The blogs eventually turned into a book, and the book turned into a coaching program, and the coaching program has turned into seminars and speaking, and the seminars and speaking have turned into more books. I'm putting out my third book right now and working on my fourth book. So, all those pieces together, one is income, which I solve by flipping. Second one is capital, which I solve by raising capital. And the third one is, personal brand, which is an ongoing process that has to happen every day.
Excellent. So when you first started, you focused on fix and flip. So how did you determine that was going to be the exit strategy for you? You didn't really have a construction background, did you? You were a guitar teacher. So how did you determine that exit strategy was what you were going to focus on when you first started?
Well, I think for everybody at the beginning, it's all about the money. You need cash.
Yeah.
So, you can go out there and buy yourself a buy and hold. And, John, I don't know how you feel about real estate, but the truth is this: small rentals don't cash flow if you have more than 50% mortgage on them.
That's right.
So you can't go out and buy a whole bunch of those. I went out and bought a whole bunch, and I got myself into a huge problem. The building that supports my lifestyle is only about 50% debt, and it cash flows, and it pays my lifestyle. So the deal with real estate is the small properties that people think are cash flowing, they don't cash flow. So if you want to be a real investor, a full-time investor, you've probably got to flip a couple properties every year to live. That's just the fact of the matter. Or you're going to do some rent-to-owns, but I hate people, so I don't want to deal with people and their problems.
Yeah.
Or you open a property management company, or you're a contractor or something. And I just chose flipping as the most interesting thing. I was an artist in painting as well, and I was selling paintings to live. And then I decided I flipped a house at one or two or three homes, and I realized I can make 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 flipping a house. And why would I paint a painting and make $1,000 when I can make $15,000 doing a house?
That's right. And so when you first started out, how much of the work were you actually doing on those first initial projects?
Well, first I hired a contractor, and then that crew collapsed.
Okay.
The crew collapsed, the contractor collapsed. Then I became the general contractor. And then I finally found a contractor that is still working with me today. I saw him today, actually. He's been working with me for 8 years. So I have about 6 different contracting crews I work with. They're full crews that can do everything. And I briefly did some of the work. I used to be a college pro painter. I used to paint schools in the summertime. So I know some painting, but I do not know. I know today much about construction, but I do not know, like back when I started, I didn't know anything about construction. But my first or my second deal I did was a $250,000 rental budget, and it was a burned down building. So I got my education by the school of life right there really quick.
Yeah. So what would you attribute your biggest what's your biggest contributing factor to your success early on doing this strategy?
Well, I think it's a couple of things, John. I mean, one is I don't give up. There's a lot of parts of real estate aren't very fun. There's a lot of not fun parts, and I don't give up. And I think the other thing that I've had that other people didn't get is I was desperate. I had to succeed.
Right.
And I went to the seminars, I went to courses, I went to all these things, but I wasn't desperate until I put myself into a bunch of seminar debt, and I had to succeed. And suddenly, you know, I think debt can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. If you have enough debt to motivate you, and you must succeed, you will succeed. But if you don't, a lot of people don't have any pressure, and I think real estate investing is a wish for them, and it's not a must. So for me, it became a must very quickly. And even today, you know, John, I have 10 employees in my office. Guess what, dude? We got to win every day because you got 10 mouths to feed. Some people say I have a family. I say, screw your family. I got 10 people to feed.
That's right.
You know, you got 2 kids. Who cares? You know, this is 10 people, man. And they got families. Every single one of them has a family. So, you know, it's a big deal. You got to feed yourself and feed all the people on your team.
Yeah, once you start to scale your business, now your business is ultimately responsible for a lot of other people's lives. And so you have to take it extremely serious, and you have to commit 110% every single day to winning. Like you have to have that winning attitude every single day to make sure that you know, your business is going to succeed, so that the people that you employ are going to be taken care of.
Exactly. And the crazy thing now, John, is it's not about me, and it's not about my employees so much. It's about the families of those people, right? You have to support those people. And it brings my level of play up. It brings everybody's level of play up, and everybody has to get better. Or, you know, you got 2 options: either go up in business or you can go down and be small.
That's right.
And I've decided, because of service, I believe I have to go up because I want to serve more people. If I want to be selfish, I could be small and just keep the money.
That's right. And out of the, let's say the first 5 homes that you ever did in your construction company or in your real estate investing, how many of those were, you know, big winners? And was there any in that first 5 where, you know, you learned a lot of lessons and maybe you didn't make any money, or maybe you lost a little bit of money?
No, the first, I'd say probably between first 12 deals or so were all winners.
Okay.
I was very, very meticulous, very almost neurotic on the buy side. You know, I would almost over-research the deals. So I was very, very good with the first dozen. Now, where I did run into some problems later is when I started doing 30 deals a year. Now there were some problems because now I took on stuff I shouldn't have taken on.
Right.
Trying to scale. And I think scaling a real estate business, real estate investment business, is one of the hardest things to do, because you can't really scale the amount of work you do in a day, but you can scale the size of the deals.
Yes.
So what I've learned is, you know, I went from doing 1 deal, then I did 1 deal, then I did a dozen deals, then I did 2 dozen deals, then I did 30 deals in a year. And then I realized doing 30 deals is stupid. And now in my business, we're probably going to do in our office 52 deals this year.
Yep.
But it's going to be probably 40 wholesales and a dozen flips, but they're bigger flips. So we're going to do some bigger flips, about 1 a month, and then we're going to do about 40 wholesales, because we have lots of clients. I've got clients all across the country, about 5,000 investors in the database that all want deals.
Right.
And so we can wholesale all day, but to do actual projects, I think doing more than 12 is crazy. Like, I think back to my younger years, and all you get is problems when you start going to 30, 40, 50. Your management team has to get exponentially better.
Yeah. Excellent. So Stefan, typically when it comes to scaling or growing your business, definitely specifically in real estate investing, it takes leverage, not only leveraging other people's money, but other people's time as well. So can you talk about your strategy for leveraging money or raising capital?
Well, Warren Buffett says, more fortunes have been lost to liquor and leverage than anything else. And I personally don't really like leverage that much in real estate. I find most investors I meet are way over leveraged.
Yes.
And a lot of them get into problems. So I do my flips all cash. They're done with partners who supply the cash and they get a preferred rate.
Okay.
So these are private people. They're not really banks. And if there's a problem, I can negotiate with them and we're okay. So that's number one, is I don't like leverage. I don't like money leverage too much. I think that you have to have the right financing to do this business. And you don't want to be over leveraged, because you're going to be out of business pretty quick if you're over leveraged. Second thing is, I believe in leveraging time. So one thing that I think I've done kind of okay is that I've got a lot of people around me who do different things, and people say, how do you get so much done? Well, it's because I have other people doing things, and because we have other people doing things, a deal takes me about 4 hours, John. So if I want to flip a house, it takes 4 hours of my time,
yes,
and about 2,000 hours of other people's time.
Right.
So that is tremendous leverage in having the people and the systems and the teams set up. That's the leverage I prefer. And I'm really a businessman and an entrepreneur who happens to do real estate as a product. I don't think of myself as a real estate guy, because real estate is just bricks and sticks.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I'm a true entrepreneur, and one of the businesses that I'm involved in is real estate. And a lot of people, especially in the real estate game, and even the people that aren't involved in real estate, once they discover that you're doing real estate, then they sort of pinhole you as, oh, you're a real estate investor, not you're an entrepreneur or a business person. You're just doing that real estate investing game. And I always try to explain to them that, no, I'm an entrepreneur. Real estate is just the product or the service that I offer people, just like you offer massage therapy, or you offer or sell your bricks at your brick and mortar store. It's really no different. The only difference is the product or the service that we offer.
Exactly, yes. And I think it's very tough, John, when you start branding yourself. You do get thrown in the real estate bucket sometimes.
Yeah.
And especially once you go outside of real estate. Like in real estate in Canada, let's say I'm a mini celebrity. I say a C-list celebrity or D-list celebrity. If I go into another space or another stage, they pigeonhole you into, oh, you're just a real estate guy. And that's something that I'm working on right now. I'm coming out with a book on negotiation right now, a book on sales next. And I'm branding myself now outside of real estate, because I don't want to be just in the real estate bucket. In fact, I don't even really like real estate much.
Neither do I.
And I say this to most people: nobody loves real estate. We love the benefits.
That's right.
Of real estate. And it's same with me. I love the benefits. I don't like dealing with tenants, trash, toilets, termites. I don't like that. I like the benefits though.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I started this show 5 days a week. And I only dedicate 1 day a week to real estate investing. The rest of it is dedicated towards entrepreneurship and helping entrepreneurs build and grow their businesses using a variety of strategies to do, just as you were talking about, get myself out of that pigeonhole as I'm the rent-to-own guy. I don't want to be the rent-to-own guy. Rent-to-own is just a product or the service that I offer. I'm an entrepreneur or a business person. So one of the strategies is doing this, has created this show and, talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, because as I was going through a lot of the seminars for the last 5 years, none of them are real estate seminars. They're all business related seminars, but they pigeonhole you as a real estate investor because they don't think of you as an entrepreneur, which, it's a struggle repositioning yourself or rebranding yourself as something else other than what that real estate investing. I don't know if you're finding the same thing or not.
Well, let me add to that. So John, right now, I've done a flipping business for years. I still do it. And because I've got success and I've won awards in magazines and the Rich Dad Award and all these things, people call me and they ask for help. And initially, I didn't want to coach anybody, and I said no. But then the calls kept coming, and then I started coaching people for free, but nobody showed up. And then I started
Yes.
charging. I started charging big money, and people started doing their homework and becoming successful, which is a big surprise.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is my curriculum, my program that I teach people, it's not about real estate. It's about these skills. It's about raising capital, which is selling. It's about negotiating, which is selling.
Mm-hmm.
There's selling, there's marketing. And the last one is buy, fix, sell. I have a curriculum, and the curriculum is all entrepreneurship. None of it is actually real estate. Very, very little, probably 10% of the curriculum is actually about bricks and sticks. Most of it is about how do you become an effective person? How do you be an effective communicator, effective salesman, effective marketer? That's really what it's about, especially negotiating. Most people can't negotiate the living daylights out of them, and they call me and say, Stefan, there's no deals in my market. Well, buddy, there's deals every day going down, but you're just bad at negotiating.
Yeah, the biggest challenge I have seen in real estate investing is not people not knowing how to analyze deals. You can teach somebody to analyze a deal in a very short amount of time, actually in probably less than a day. It's all of the soft skills that will help make a person a better real estate investor, but they're also the soft skills that will help make a person a better entrepreneur. So negotiating,
Exactly.
Presenting to people, how to effectively talk to people, how to listen to people instead of just verbal diarrhea, like how to listen to what they're saying, uncover what their pains or frustrations are, and be able to frame your solution as something that's going to help them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And really, it's a personal development program. I mean, that's what real estate is. It's how do you develop as a person? Because if you want to make more money, you just got to become a better person to the marketplace, add more value, bring more value.
That's right.
That's what it's about. It's not about this magical unicorn that's just going to bring you money just because you asked for it. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, everybody's sold on the dream, but in reality, there's only a very small fraction of the people that actually see any level of success. And those are the people that understand it really is less about the real estate and more about those other skills that they need to develop in order to be a successful at real estate investing or any business. So Stefan, as part of your business model, you've been educating and helping investors across Canada reach success for themselves. Can you give an example of someone who reached out to you, maybe what were their challenges and how you helped them overcome those challenges?
Well, I think the biggest thing that most people have when they come and work with me and they want to become successful in real estate is it's really about expectations. These people don't have the proper expectations set. One thing I do in my program, and here's some of the secret sauce, I say, you got to make 50 calls a week.
Yeah.
And we actually, the coaches that coach under me and work with people, and I coach still today. Monday, I've got some coaching calls too. It's all about calls, man. Are you doing your calls every week? And it's funny. People say, oh, I know I have to do my calls. Well, you're not doing them, bro. You got to do your calls. You got to do your calls. It's 50 calls, 10 offers a week. And so it's expectations. How much money did you raise? Well, were you expecting to raise any money? Well, now you're coaching with me. I expect to raise this much by Monday. I expect that you do this many calls by Friday. I expect that you have this many contractors interviewed. And I think that real estate is not rocket science. It's not rocket surgery. It's not difficult.
No.
But what is difficult is doing your push-ups, doing your sit-ups, doing your laps. You gotta treat it like going to the gym and having a personal trainer, because that's the only way you can get some performance out of somebody. And even people after they work with me, they slip back into their previous performance because they need somebody pushing them to perform. It's just like athletes. They have professional coaches on teams. And if you look at the NHL teams or NBA teams or the golf, PGA golfers, they've all got coaches. And it's so interesting to see people, they say, well, I want to make $1 million, but I don't want to pay for a coach. And it's like, buddy, what are you smoking? You must be smoking something and give me some.
Yeah, so it's all about that accountability factor as well as being consistent on a persistent basis. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, is the consistent persistency. they get, they go to a seminar, they get all ramped up, or they meet with a coach, they're all excited, and they'll go out and they'll, just like a rabbit, they start to do stuff at a rapid pace, and then all of a sudden they don't do it for days or weeks, and then you try to pick it up for a day or two, and then it falls down again for, another month, try to pick it up for a few days. There's no consistency in what they're trying to achieve, as opposed to, even if it was just starting out with a small amount of tasks, something very manageable on a consistent, persistent basis, doing it day in, day out, build that habit, and then increasing it from there.
Mm-hmm. And the second thing is expectations, John. I remember when I hired my first real estate coach years ago to turn me around, he said, how many deals do you want to do? I said, I want to do 100 deals. And he said, okay. How much are the houses in your market? I said, they're this much. He said, you need to raise between $3 and $5 million from no more than 2 people and go out there and do it. And that blew my mind, because at the time I was thinking about raising 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand.
Yeah.
I was not thinking about raising $3 to $5 million. But within a couple of months, I had it because I expected it and I followed the steps to get it.
That's right. You had a clear goal, a clear vision, and you just broke it down into manageable tasks and just perform those tasks day in, day out on a consistent, persistent basis, which people will look at that goal, that long-term, that big goal, and then, what they fail to do is to actually break it down into manageable, bite-sized tasks that they can achieve on a regular basis. And I think that's where a lot of them fail.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working with your private clients or training these groups, what are some of the specific things that you're working with them on? So what type of things that will you walk them through, say on a weekend course or a one-on-one coaching? I know that one-on-one stuff is typically, it's really tailored to the individual, but is there generally some things that you can talk about that you work with people on a regular basis?
Well, I think the biggest thing is helping people get past their own bullshit and putting the whole business together. Because,
Right.
nobody, I have people say like, well, what are you going to teach me in coaching? Well, I'm not teaching you anything, buddy. We're getting it done.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about, I'm going to learn this magical thing. There's really no magic to it. It's the same as somebody who goes to the store to bake a cake and they buy the flour and the eggs and the sugar and the water, and then they say, well, I know real estate and it's all sitting on the counter and there's no cake. Well, we got to bake the cake, man. I mean, we got to stir and we got to do it in the right order and put it into the oven. And it's all about putting it together. And I'd say most of it, John, is mindset, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
Because, I have platinum students. These are guys who are coaching with me personally for a year. And we do a call every week with the platinum guys. And I say, did you get your 50 calls done? And they say, well, I got 30. I say, well, why the heck did you do 30? How many offers you get? You get your 10? Well, I don't know. I got 4. And I said, well, you got to do 10. Why aren't you doing 10? And, this is human nature, right? Human beings, we want to conserve energy. We don't want to spend energy.
That's right.
So there's the pieces that we have to do, but a lot of it's mindset. A lot of people don't think that they deserve the income. They don't think they deserve to raise the money. A lot of people are scared of raising money because they don't believe that they should have the money. A lot of people, I talked to a guy the other day, he said he wanted to make $250,000 in real estate and he didn't want to sell anything. And I said, well, buddy, you're probably not going to make above 30 grand without selling something. And this guy was an entrepreneur, John. He had other businesses. He said, I don't want to sell myself. I'm like, well, what are you smoking? You have to sell if you want to live, if you want to make money. I mean, you either sell your time or you sell something else.
Yeah, even if you have a job, you're selling yourself because you're selling your services to your employer, and
by the hour, every hour he's buying it.
Yeah, the better you are at selling yourself, the more money you'll make at your job as an hourly wage, hopefully. But when you translate that into entrepreneurship or into real estate investing, the better you are at selling yourself, the better you are at raising money, closing on deals, attracting opportunities. It comes hand in hand. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or you're an entrepreneur, real estate investor. It doesn't matter. Everyone's selling themselves. You sell yourself to go out on a date. You sell yourself to your potential wife. I mean, she's going to buy you. She's going to buy into you actually getting married, right? So
Well, John, they always say this. They say you can tell how good of a salesman he is by how beautiful his girlfriend is, or how pretty his wife is. And
yeah,
that's kind of a funny thing to say, but it's true. You got to sell everything, man. Everything's sold. We're talking on computers; those were sold. I have headphones. This was sold. There's paint on the walls. That was sold. The flooring in the room was sold. I have a book. This was sold.
Yeah.
The paper in the book. Everything must be sold. I have salt water in my hair. That was sold. The bottle was sold. Everything's sold. And if you have a problem with selling, you're just going to be poor.
True that. So, Stefan, what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that you see the majority of investors making as they're just getting started or trying to take their business to the next level? And then turn around and let them know what they could do to avoid those mistakes.
Well, one thing I see all the time is I see a complete lack of education. I mean, people get into real estate and they think that they're going to save $1,000 by going to a week or not going to a weekend seminar and just buying a deal, and then they lose $25,000 in the market.
Yeah.
And then they never want to do it again. So, I mean, they say in the military, an ounce of sweat will save you a pint of blood. And it's the same way in real estate investing. Is a complete lack of education is a very scary thing. I have people come to my events that have no idea how much money they're making on their flips, and they're making 1% profit or 0%, or they don't know.
Yes.
And that scares the living daylights out of me. Another thing that I see is lack of education is people plateau, and then for some reason they just stay at that plateau forever, and they don't do anything to, grow. And if you're plateaued, chances are you're going down, you're getting worse.
That's right.
So that's another thing I see all the time is people, I talked to a guy the other day, he said, well, I've done 30 deals in the last 30 years. Well, buddy, that's not very good. That's one deal a year, right?
It's pretty easy to do that.
Well, you did the same year 30 times in a row. You know, my dad used to be an entrepreneur, and he wasn't very good, my father. He did the same year in business 16 times in a row, but he said he was in business for 16 years.
Yeah.
Well, you're not really adding anything if you're doing the same thing over and over again. So I think that number one is people get in with no education. They have no idea what they're doing. And the second problem is they're plateaued. And often I have people saying, well, I don't know how to raise money. I don't know how to find deals. I don't know. Those are the two biggest ones. I don't know where to find money. I don't know how to find deals. Realistically, what you have to do is improve yourself as a person. And when you improve your skills, like your negotiating skills, your money raising skills, you get some accountability, get a coach, whatever it is, that's where you see the lives change. That's where you see people go up to the next level. That's where you see people getting to quit their jobs. A lot of people, after working with me for a year, they don't have jobs anymore, man.
Yeah.
They've got businesses now. And that's awesome to see people break out of that plateau and go up, or see people get educated and know what to look for in the market.
Excellent. So for someone just getting started in real estate investing or wanting to take their business to the next level, can you give us some tips on how that's stuff that they can actually take away and implement, almost immediately, some action plans from today's episode, some things that they can implement into their business, into the real estate, as a few tips that they could actually start and take action on?
Yeah, well, number one, I think you got to go out and get as many books as you can. I'm back on the book a week plan. I think you got to go and get a book. Here's one of my books. People have to read. So if you want to get into the business, start reading. That's the biggest thing. Second thing is join a real estate club or a group. You can go to a meetup.com and start getting some friends who are in the business. The next thing is, I think you probably want to start going to some seminars, and don't be afraid to spend a little bit of money, boys and girls. I mean, spend, $500 to a couple thousand on a seminar and check it out. I think it's important that you invest in yourself. And, John, you might have heard this story before where, if you see a Coke machine and it says out of order on the machine, you're probably not going to put any money in the machine, right?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, if the machine's out of order, no one's putting money into it. Well, most people are out of order, and because you're out of order, no one's going to put money into you. So you got to get in order. Start reading, start joining groups, spend a little bit of money on some seminars, not a lot. You don't have to spend $100,000. Just spend a little bit and check out some stuff. And really start researching. And then when the time is right, I think it's good to enter the market with professional help and with a professional coach bringing you through the jungle.
Yes.
Because my first 2 years in the business, John, I probably missed out on 600,000 of opportunity, of real profit. If I'd bought 6 houses in Winnipeg, houses at the time were 50 grand, I could have bought them 0% down and 40-year amortization. I probably could have bought 6 of them right away. Wow. And got 600 grand. Instead, I did a whole bunch of stupid things because I didn't spend any money on any help.
Yeah, so there's 2 things there that you mentioned I just want to touch on. One is investing in yourself. One of my coaches is famous for saying this, and I say it to everybody as much as I can, is that a lot of people will try to cheap their way to a success. They all want to be successful, but they want to be cheap on their way, meaning they're not investing in the right courses, they're not investing in coaches, they're not investing in the things that are going to make them successful. And the second thing is a lot of people will invest $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, probably like you did, like I did, into the real estate investing game without actually having a coach first. I think it's important to lay a little groundwork, maybe do the weekend seminar for $500 or $1,000 or whatever. But if you're actually going to get into real estate investing and you want to really get into it, I think before you spend that 20, 30, 40 grand on a seminar, I think you invest the 5, 10 grand, whatever it is, on an actual coach first that's been there, done that you can actually work with, and that can teach you a lot of the things that you're going to learn in the seminar. Because you need to determine, is this real estate business for you? And you're much better off investing just $5,000 to figure that out versus $40,000 to learn that it's really not for you.
Yeah, and John, I don't know if I mentioned it, but in my career, I've spent over 300 grand on non-traditional education.
Yeah.
So that's in 8 years, 9 years. I spent 300,000 over that time. My right-hand man in my office, John Eric, he walked in and walked around here quickly. He spent over 100 grand on his education. And that's not university, dude.
No.
That's seminars. Mostly seminars in coaching and mentoring. We didn't even include books. I got a bookshelf next door. A whole wall of my house is books. So if you want to be great, if you want to be fantastic, you got to pay to play, dude. But I'm not going to disclose what my income is, but I can guarantee you that the 300 grand is certainly worth it.
That's right.
If you want to actually play ball, if you want to be a player, you got to bring that bet to the table. And I like to say this, everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do some gangster stuff. Like, buddy, do you really want to play? If you want to play, let's go.
That's right. All right, Stefan. That's all the time that we have today. I personally want to thank you for taking time out of your day and being with us and sharing with the audience everything that we talked about. I'll post some contact links in the comments section, as well as when I post this to the website, and YouTube will actually get all the contact links in the show notes as well, so people can connect with you should they have any questions or want to follow up with you. So everyone show Stefan some love by hitting that like button, love button. Be sure to share this with your friends and family on your associated business pages on Facebook as well. And Stefan, has been great having you on the show. I want to thank you, and I look forward to catching up with you again in the near future. And I'll just get everyone to stick around, and I'll be back in just a minute with today's closing remarks. So again, Stefan, thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. Appreciate being on the show.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me on today's John A. McCabe Show, where we work with entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, experts, and speakers get seen, get heard, get noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. Now, also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, if you're someone who's looking to take your business to the next level and want to get some coaching advice, why not apply to be a guest on today's show? Now, for most entrepreneurs, we want to create a life of our own, create our own path, and do what we can to reach our own desired outcome, which is generally freedom. Freedom to choose what we want to do, when we want to do it, and with whom we want to do it. A life that's full of options and choices, where we worry less about money and more about the quality of time that we spend with others. Now, a great way to make that happen is to leverage other people's knowledge, time, and skill sets. Step one to reaching our freedom life is to realize that you can't do it alone. Working with a coach where being involved in masterminds is a great way for entrepreneurs to move their business forward. Now, a coach can help you shorten the time frame to get you from where you are to where you want to be, while being part of a mastermind is meant to bring entrepreneurs together, all with the goal of helping each other move forward with their business. Now, the second step to creating the life you envision for yourself as an entrepreneur is to implement systems into your business so you can streamline your operations, leverage systems, and free up your time to focus on your family, having fun, and the highest leverage activities in your business. You know, the activities that get you the biggest return on your time invested, the ones that truly make you money. Now, sometimes we just don't know what systems we need, how to implement those systems, or even have the time to find out what is needed. Now, working with a coach or consultant that understands, uses, and specializes in systems that can streamline your operations can help save you time, aggravation, and make you a lot more money. Now, for example, having a system or strategy that allows you to leverage just 15 hours of your time into enough repurposed content to get you seen, get you heard, get you noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device is a great example of leverage. Now, just imagine a system where you invest just 15 hours of your time, and the end result is you're a #1 best-selling author. You have enough content that's going to get you seen, get you heard, get you noticed anywhere, anytime, on any device. You have a successful podcast. Now, it's automatically attracting more attention, giving more value, and generating more leads, which enables you to attract an abundance of paying customers. Now, this is also known as the Authority Acceleration Blueprint. Now, to find out more about the Authority Acceleration Blueprint, coaching program, or mastermind, then contact me via my website at johnamccabe.com or connect with me through my show's Facebook page. Now, again, thank you for joining us on today's show, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show when I have another great guest on discussing their business and accelerating their authority. So have yourself an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.